One could argue that the passing notes and daydreaming of yesterday have become the mobile devices and technology of today. It is not surprising that technology has taken over just about every facet of modern life. Schools have long fought personal mobile device use in education. However, in recent years, educators are beginning to see the benefit of using such resources during meaningful, engaging classroom activities. Bring your own device, or BYOD policies, have been adopted by many schools. While there may be many opposed to the practice of BYOD, there are definitely some advantages to having students bring their own devices from home for use during the learning process that far outweigh the drawbacks. One must recognize all of the benefits a BYOD policy can have in the school environment. First, and probably most important, making students bring their own devices to school instead of having to buy technology to support the entire student body will help schools greatly cut back on budget costs. In the article, Power Up, On Board with BYOD, Johnson points out that critics may bring to light the fact that schools will still need a large sum of money to expand wireless services and bandwidth. However, with the BYOD policy, schools can allocate funds to that area as opposed to trying to also purchase enough devices for each student in the district. Another advantage to having students bring their own devices, pointed out by Wainwright in the article One-to-One versus BYOD in Education, Which is Better, is that schools can save even more money because they would not need to be responsible for the maintenance of devices or the replacement of broken or lost devices. Students can be careless with school technology. Having them bring their own devices might help them learn to be more responsible, as well as take the burden off of schools to correct the problem when students are negligent. One final benefit of BYOD policies is that little to no training is needed for students. Students know how to use their own devices and navigate different apps and sites easily. Michelle Brownback, in an interview, pointed out that there is a learning curve where students are concerned when using things like the settings of their phone, but teachers can easily figure those things out to help their students. While schools with BYOD policies may have to train teachers to be familiar with a number of different devices, they do not need to spend time or money training students on a singular device purchased for every student as they would in a one-to-one initiative school. Ultimately, while there are many advantages to the BYOD policies that schools have adopted, there can be certain drawbacks as well. Critics may say that having students bring their own devices to school may highlight inequities. For example, a student whose family cannot afford a smartphone for each child may not be able to bring his or her own device into school. Those students may become the target of bullying and teasing because they do not have the same resources as their peers. However, because funding has been freed up by having most students bring in their own devices into the classroom, schools may be able to purchase devices for those specific students to use. Additionally, Wainwright suggests that schools start a device loaner program, which would help students who cannot afford their own devices so that they could receive refurbished devices loaned or given to them by others. Another disadvantage to students bringing their own devices is that teachers and technology support teams may have a difficult time keeping up with varying technology. This can cause a problem when it comes to classroom management, as Michelle Brownback pointed out. For example, a teacher may want to use a certain application, but it might not be available on every device students are using. However, with some training, research, and planning, teachers should be able to accommodate for each of their students' needs. One final drawback noted by many is that students having different devices and teachers not being able to manage each student individually all of the time is that cyberbullying may be amplified. When all students are using the same device, it is easier for teachers to walk around and make sure students are all on the same screen and doing exactly the work that they are supposed to be doing. When there are a number of different devices in the room, such monitoring becomes more difficult. As previously mentioned, professional development for teachers and training on a number of different devices could help to greatly reduce such problems. Additionally, every school using a BYOD policy should have an acceptable use agreement that students must accept and sign. Part of such plans would also be a clause concerning cyberbullying and the discipline handed down for such behavior. Overall, bring your own device initiatives have many advantages that far outweigh the drawbacks. While certain hurdles may be needed to jump, school administrators, teachers, and students can all greatly benefit from the use of personal technology devices in the classroom. When meaningful learning through technology is taking place, students learn to become more responsible digital citizens and learn skills they will need far into the future. Personally, I cannot wait to start using BYOD policies when I return to the classroom in the fall of 2017.